Now, it looks like deja vu, doesn't it? The same scenario that played out between parallel APC executives in Enugu State during that inconclusive Congress of 2018 seems to be playing out again in 2023. Granted, this time it doesn't have the Congress element and is more of a post-election crisis, but it's got all the confusion, battles between opposing sides and factional loyalties that have led to bitter power struggles within the ruling party in the state. And whereas in the past the factions were divided between those loyal to the Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyama and the former Senate President Kem Nnamani on the one hand, and the former Governor of Enugu State Sullivan Chime and the Director General of the Voice of Nigeria Osita Okechukwu on the other, this time all four appear to be on the receiving end and have all been declared suspended for anti-party activities. So what's the squabble all about?
The fact-finding committee and the disciplinary committee have established a prima facie case of anti-party activities against Senator Ken Nnamani and recommended him for suspension from the party. The extended state executive committee, including local government chairmen and local government secretaries of the party, have ratified the recommendation of the disciplinary committee and hereby request for immediate suspension of Senator Ken Nnamani. Apart from Senator Ken Nnamani, Barrister Chime, Honorable Geoffrey Onyama, there were others that we received petitions against.
That the party has regrettably expelled have actually had a history of instigating crisis in APC that dates as far back as 12 years ago. Every successive executive, including factions they created, were subjected to endless crisis. So luckily, we are glad that today a crisis comes to an end in our party, as we have done the needful that we should have done a long time ago.
Well, it looks like deliciously marvelous fuss, doesn't it? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by one of those involved in the dispute, the Director General of Voice of Nigeria, Osita Okechukwu. Thank you very much, Mr. Okechukwu, for coming in.
Thanks a million for providing us opportunity to have our own view. A fair hearing we were denied by my brother Okechukwu and his cohorts.
I like that. Well, you'll tell us what's going on. I mean, we would like you to set out for us the parameters of this conflict in Enugu State. From what we're hearing, the Enugu chapter of the APC has suspended your good self, as well as the former Senate President Ken Nnamani, the former Governor of Enugu State Sullivan Chime, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyama for anti-party activities, which the APC State Executive Committee described as a mortal sin against the party.
For me, it is a storm in a teacup. It's an issue of a failed chairman that is quarreling with himself. This is Ugabala, for God's sake. He's my own bosom friend, and by ancestral linkage, we are kinsmen. My daughter cannot marry his son. We are that close.
Well, if you're that close, then obviously he's not doing this out of malice against you, is he?
No, I want to tell you the background.
Right, okay.
Ugabala is the kingpin of the PDP. On March 8th exactly, he stumbled into my office and told me he wanted to be chairman of APC. I said, come on, brother, are you a member of the party? He said, yes. I said, no. We have a tradition. We could have come to welcome you, a big fish. You're a special advisor to the governor of Enugu State. If we were leaving the PDP, it could have been a matter of celebration. We did that when Ken Nnamani came. We did that when Sullivan Chima came. We did that when all of the big wigs that are today in our party graciously welcomed them. And we had to tell the world that we have increased our membership with some big fish, like somebody of your caliber. So you cannot say you're a member. He said, guess what? The governor of Imo State told him to be chairman of APC. That I know he's an organizer. that we had not been doing so well. I said, for God's sake, we've come from about 60-something thousand immediately after registration in 2013. And the registration of the measure of the APC took us over 10 years hard work, where you were in the cozy comfort zone of the PDP, enjoying yourself. And today, you are coming to be chairman. That in my years in this politics and in life, I do not see how somebody can walk into a parish and become a reverend father or a catechist that same day. And I do not see how somebody can walk into a mosque and become the imam of that mosque on that same day. He said, no. Osita, can you do me a favor? I said, which favor? He said, if Hopuzo, His Excellency, asked you whether I've consulted, because you are one of the stakeholders, he said I should consult. I said, please, I'll say you came. But please help me to tell him that I wasn't appointed as Director General of Voice of Nigeria until APC won the federal government. And there were those who from 2002 that have been with us since 1999, they never got any appointment. My loyalty is to them. And some of them have indicated interest they want to be chairman of APC. And I will, in my own nature as a Christian, will not have the face to tell them that you, I'm not even sure you're a member of the party, is going to be chairman. That was the crisis. He went his own way. They imposed him.
How long ago was this?
That was on March 8, 2002, before the state
2002?
22, 2002.
Okay, right. That's
before the
just
Congress.
over a year ago.
Over a year ago.
Right.
And we called a meeting. Went into the national, after the Congress, we went to the national headquarters of the party, led by Ken Nnamani, His Excellency. All of us, Jeffrey Oyama, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and uncountable, a former speaker, Ijunodo, and others, who want to complain, who said, look, who don't want the way the guy is going about it? We have upgraded the party from 60-something thousand membership to 180-something thousand. We were approximating that minimum of half of our membership could deliver us seats at the Senate of Assembly, and we were targeting the governorship of Enugu State. They said, no, go home. We'll attend to it. Even the day our president-elect, our presidential candidate was coming to Enugu, we met him at the airport with big masquerade, a big crowd. And the leader of our group, Ken Nnamani, notified Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that we can't come to the arena because he kept on threatening. He doesn't want stakeholder. He doesn't want. We'll join a group called the ICC, Independent Campaign Council. We are doing our own little bit. But even the little effort we were doing, he was demolishing it.
But you said, I apologize for interrupting you. You said he was imposed on the party. How was he? How could he have been imposed when people like you and all the other big wigs were there? I don't understand.
No, we keep on from the one talking about the import of internal democracy. We're not in particular who is the chairman of party, but the APC is governed by rules.
Yeah.
And the constitution of the APC is very clear that any office here must be democratically voted for. That if you want to talk of consensus, and somebody raises his hand and said it's not part of the consensus, then you go back to election.
Right.
That was not done. That's where we came. He boasted severally in Enugu that these are idiots, that they have killed the party. I'm an organizer. I'm coming to organize.
Yeah. But obviously somebody gave him, somebody put him in.
Come on. He said we got 56,000 votes in the presidential election of 2019. That is going to quadruple that. At the end of the day, behold, abysmally low, 4,722 is what Asiwaju got.
Look, I understand all that, but what I'm trying to understand is how did he become the chairman of the party when there are people like you there? I mean, how did you people allow him to become the chairman? I don't understand. You said he was imposed on you.
No.
Who imposed him?
We cannot talk of the history of impunity. governed by His Excellency Hope Uzodimma, who then rated as the leader of the zone.
In the southeast.
In the southeast,
right?
Because
Okay.
on the geopolitical zone. Because
So that gave him some reach and leverage across the region.
He did the same thing
Right.
in Anambra. When we had primaries for the governorship of Anambra State, I called him because we were close. I said, why don't we do internal democracy so that Anambra people will vote a candidate for the party instead of a position?
Which is the way it should be.
And he went ahead to impose a candidate, and we came fourth.
Right.
He did the same thing this time around in Abia State, we came fourth. He did the same thing in Enugu, we came fourth.
So you allege that he's muddying the waters, basically.
I begged him. I said, please don't take us the narrow route
Right.
of the former governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha. That His Excellency Rochas, after all pleadings, was doing it his own way against the tenets of the political party.
Right. Well, the state secretary of the party, and you heard them there on the opening clip, said they received various petitions as well as reports from a fact-finding committee and a disciplinary committee, and that there was audio, video, and text evidence submitted of these alleged anti-party activities. He said the evidence showed, for instance, Ken Nnamani openly campaigning against the APC governorship candidate as well as other candidates of the APC in the state, and similar evidence was found against you. What is your response to that? Because you haven't actually addressed any of that. I mean, you're talking about other things.
Is that the APC, I was a member of the major committee of the APC. We took time to prepare our constitution, not to fall into lapses.
No, look.
One of the things we said is that there must be fair hearing.
Did you engage in anti-party activities or not?
No, the most important thing
because
is to
I'm
ask
trying to
yourself,
understand why they're saying that's why they suspended you.
do you know why I thanked you? For this fair hearing. If they have given us fair hearing, we could have been in a position to establish the good work we did, which they dismantled. Before the election, during the election.
Yeah, but
when we came back for the election, we will talk about that later, because his public secretary had also queried him, pointing accusing fingers on allegation of manipulation of campaign funds.
yeah, look, that's a different story.
So
I mean, I'm dealing with your own.
None of us engaged in anti-party
But
activities.
do they have the authority to suspend you lot from the party? They say, as I said, they received petitions against you and they acted on that basis. I mean, they called you party merchants who have a history of instigating crisis within the APC. I mean, that's not very complimentary, is it?
Party merchants who market votes got 56,000 in the presidential election of 2019.
Yeah, but do they have the authority to suspend you?
They do not. That's the culture of impunity I'm talking about.
Right, okay.
The party's constitution said that, recognize that the politics is local. You register from the one at your ward level. And that ward has an executive committee. So if there's any infraction, misdemeanor, anti-party activity of Osita Okechukwu, the first bounce is the ward where Osita Okechukwu comes from, where His Excellencies Jeffrey Oyama, Sullivan Chema, Ken Nnamani. Then from that ward level, you take the case to the local government level and before the state. And in all this, the Constitution says there must be fair hearing. Nobody ever invited me. Nobody.
I see the point you're making.
It's culture of impunity that brought him to power.
Right.
He came with two missions. Like akin to a political bandit. Hijack the party to manipulate the campaign funds. And now...
Well, those are allegations that can't be substantiated.
That's an allegation. We're going to that.
Yeah, but we have to be careful about making those allegations.
No, we're coming into that. The other day I was in the house of the president-elect. I went to see the secretary. in the course of discussion, he brought a Enugu file. Here's the CV of the man who is suspending everybody he thought.
Yeah, well,
we
don't have any evidence.
No, I have.
Allegation.
I saw the same in the party
you could
secretariat.
obviously take legal action, but beyond accusing the chairman of that Enugu chapter, Ugo Abala, of hijacking the APC in the state, I mean, what are you going to do about this suspension? I mean, you say you don't accept it. Is it going to be a case of having to accept?
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
The good thing about political activity in Nigeria is that it's a 4-year run like the World Cup. There will be a time, the next 3 years or so, where there will be ward election first. Okechukwu Abala is not going to be my ward. I'm not going to be his ward. That ward Congress will produce executives down the line. That is when we will come to review the growth of the party. And the happiness we have is that we're handy with the major projects of the federal government of Nigeria initiated by President Muhammadu Buhari, like the Green Imperative Program of Agriculture. We will beg the president-elect, please, we want our people to benefit from these programs. We beg him as well that, like in the Eastern Corridor, is the rail line between Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, that if you attempt to do something about it, we'll get more votes. So we have prepared ourselves on how we'll recover our party from political bandits. We're already moving ahead.
Right.
We're not talking about what he's talking today. We're not on the same page with him. We are worried that a region, the party could have done well, that we were unnecessarily distracted and dislocated.
Well, I mean, the background music, if I might call it that, to this dispute sounds like there's more conflict going forward.
No, there's not going to be conflict. The good luck is that the president-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is a veteran. He has at his tips all these nitty-gritties.
Well, his position is a bit shaky at the moment. We'll have to see what happens. I mean, after the court processes.
For us,
yeah,
the party have been declared winner. So we'll plan around that.
Yeah, that makes sense. But broadly speaking, which is probably one of the reasons you're having these turf wars across the place. I mean, what has happened to that dream of positive change and a new democracy so volubly promised by the APC in 2015? Has it now turned into this nightmare of factionalization and chaos?
No, the foundation have been laid. If you know what it means, that in the next few months, 995 million euro, multiple agricultural equipment, both ranches, is going to be imported into this country. It's been designated to be in every local government, managed between the federal government of Nigeria and the private sector. So it's not a question of that the tractor got spoiled and is abandoned now. The same thing is going to happen in the processing plants that is embedded in that Green Imperative Program. It's advanced stage. So we're going to continue where President Muhammadu Buhari stopped. He had laid the foundation. He had done most of the infrastructure. The Western Corridor of the Nigerian rail line is almost standardized. So what is left for Asiwaju is the Eastern Corridor. And when you have transportation and electricity, you get to go.
Okay, well, we'll be keeping a close eye on that. Osita, I want to thank you very much indeed for taking the time to try and make us understand what is going on in Enugu State. And Osita Okechukwu is the Director General of Voice of Nigeria and one of those involved in the dispute.
A foundation member of the APC.
A foundation member of the APC.
Thanks.
Thank you very much indeed
I appreciate
for coming
for the honor of giving up for fair
Lovely
hearing.
to have you, as always, in the studio.